What a mare that job that was. Ooh. So now the subframe's down, all that's left to do is de-rust it using a wire brush attachment on a drill, as you can see here. Once that's done, I'm going to use some K-Rust, this remover gel, hopefully it's good, and get rid of as much of the rust as I can, and then I'm going to remove the bushes, then I'm going to paint it and put new bushes in, stuff like that. So for this part of the video, the rusting, what I'm going to do is set the camera aside and speed the footage up and put some, I'll put some music on over the top, some copyright free music, and speed the footage up so you can see what I'm doing. And then I'll come back and we'll remove the bushes and go from there. So let's crack on. As you can see, that's what it looks like, and then that's what it looks like afterwards, and that's what you're aiming for, like this. When it gets like this, you can use the rust remover gel stuff over it to get in the gaps. So I'll come back in a minute and show you that bit. Okay, so it's now time to start removing these bushes, and this one is what holds the radiator in. It's really easy, just twist and pull and that's them out, just get them to the side. These ones, there's 4 of these ones, and they're held in with a plastic like housing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut through the rubber and into the plastic, releasing the pressure, and then pushing them out from the top using the bush removal tool. So all I'm going to do is move the camera so you get a better angle at what I'm doing and crack on with it. So to get these out, I'm just going to use a hacksaw, a little bit of penetrating fluid to help keep the blade moving nicely, and a bush removal tool. So then with the bush removal tool, I'll put a link to this one in the description. I'm using it like that, putting the cup over the top. That's a 3/8, so you can put your ratchet on there. Then I'm using this part of it underneath. The bolt, that's 22mm. That's all that's left to do. Back it out with either a hammer or the end of your ratchet, and that's it. Easy. Clean the inside of this up, and we'll get it painted up, and then we'll put the new ones in. So I'll do that on all 4 of them. I've removed the wishbone, easier access, and they're going to have to be removed anyway because I'm going to paint it, but it's time to get this one out. Right, let's see if this comes out now. It's not 100% out around the edges, but you never know, like it might come out easy like the front ones. That was easier, wasn't it? But if you've got a cup, I think, something that can slot over it, then I think that'd make it even better. So let's get this off. And that's the last one out. So it's all finished being sanded, ready for paint. One last thing I'm going to do now before I actually do that is give it a quick wipe over with some panel wipe and a bit of blue rag, just to make sure there's no dust and dirt around. You can see here I've sprayed a little bit already and made a start on it. It's the best way to do it, just to make sure you've got no grease and muck on it, so just use a bit of panel wipe. So let's give you some sped up footage. See, it may look clean, but a bit of panel wipe just reveals that it's not fully clean. Gets all the grease and muck off. And there we have it. Bit of panel wipe, give it a quick wipe over and it's all clean. So now we're going to use the K-Rust. I've got it here. This stuff, just to go around where it's all rusty around the edges here and along the seals here, just to help give it an extra protection of rust. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to just pour it into a spray paint container here. That way you don't contaminate the actual container of fluid, and just wipe over like this and then let it dry for 15 minutes. I've checked and apparently what happens after about 15-20 minutes, it'll turn all the rust spots left black, and then I can spray paint straight over it. So we're getting close to getting this done now, so let's give you some more sped up footage and carry on. So I've put the K-Rust into a container. I'm going to paint these areas here and along here. I'm not going to show you the whole process of the whole subframe, I'm just going to show you this little section here and speed up the footage. Here we go. Don't know if you can see what's happening there, but it's only been a couple of minutes and it's already going like a darker colour where it's drying. Maybe I've used too much, I don't know. I've never used this stuff before and I didn't really read the instructions. So I'm just going to bring you back in and show you what I've done. I've probably overkilled on it, but you can see where it's getting darker, which means it's working. It is beginning to darken off and get black, so it is doing what it says on the tin. So quite impressed with it. All I've got to do now is flip it around and do the underside of it. So it's good stuff. It seems to be doing what it's done. It says on the tin, should I say. But I've probably used too much of it, but it is working. It's looking alright. So once that's done and the other side's done, all that's left now is I'm going to use some of this Rust and Habiting primer, then some satin black spray paint followed by some clear. So, and then I can put the bushes back, these new poly bushes in, paint this bit up and put it back on the car. So we're nearly there. So I'm outside in the sun, ready to give it a coat of primer. Gonna use this, like I say, so just gonna set the camera up and start spraying. I've given this a shake for a couple of minutes, so we're all good to go. You guys had a light coating over it, first coat. So it's at the primer, now it's time to put some satin black on it. So let's crack on. Well, there it is, all done in satin black. Just gonna let it dry overnight so it can harden, and then we're gonna put some clear coat on it to give it a bit more protection. It's not bad for a spray can job. It's a lot better than what it was. And then what's left to do then is put the bushes in, put the wishbones back in, put the steering rack in, put the anti-roll bar back in, put it all back together and stick it back in the car. It looks down sight better than what it did. It's taken quite a while, this project. So there it is, guys. It's sitting outside, it's all painted, ready to go. I'm going to leave it outside for about 40 minutes or so, just to let it go off in the sun, and then I'll lay it down, put it under the car so it can just lay there overnight and let it set and cure off. And then I'm going to come out tomorrow and give it some clear coat. That's what it's recommended on these cans, to leave it overnight, leave for 24 hours to harden, and after use invert can upside down and clear nozzle. So, you know, usual jargon. So I'm going to leave it overnight, basically come out here tomorrow, give it a clear coat, and then leave it for a few days for the clear coat to go off, and then put the bushes back in, put the wishbones back in, put the anti-roll bar and steering rack back on. That's it then, job's done. So this project has been a long-winded one, but it's been worth it so far. I've enjoyed the process. So yeah, the next stage will be some clear coat. Let's crack on. Okay, so what I've done now, I've just started giving it a light dusting of clear coat. Literally the first coat, you literally just dust it on very lightly. And what I'm going to do is, when I go for the second and third coat, apply it a bit more heavier. So I mean, if I come down here, like, you can see where some of it's been sitting, and you can see the light dusting just here. Trying to get some of the light in it. There you go. So you just for the first coat of clear, you are literally just going for a frosting, just a light dusting of it, and that's what you go for. Just literally the first coat, like I say, can't stress this enough. With the first coat, it is literally just a light dusting over it. And then when you've got that on, give it 10 minutes and then come back with a heavier coat. So I'll show you that in a second. I'll actually let the camera roll and show you that one. But it's looking good so far. Okay, that's it. A second coat, a little bit heavier than the first, as you see. So I'm going to give that 10 minutes now, and then come back and give it one more coat, get a fresh can, keep the pressure up, and then I'll spin it around to the other side. So yeah, looking a lot better than what it did, that's for sure. So liking it. Okay, so it's had a couple of days to dry now, and now it's time to put these bushes in. These are the flo-flex ones. Comes in two sections like this, with the metal sleeving through that the middle. Now I've worked out a way to do these. Hopefully it'll work easy. You can put a bit of white grease or something, a bit of Vaseline around the lips if you want to help out, like get them in. I'm going to see if they go in by hand. Yep, that's one side in. Then get the other one. Same again from the back. Nice one. And then what you want to do is, with the metal sleeve, put some white grease on it or some Vaseline, something to help it slide in. So I've got my bush removal tool and I've got it set up like this. What I'm going to do is I'm going to use the cup that comes with the bush removal tool and sit it on this way so it's flush on the back of the metal sleeve. I'm going to spray this up with some white grease. I'm going to put some white grease in here, insert this way, use the other reverse cup, whatever it's called, put it on the other side and tighten it up until it slides into place. Let's see if that works, shall we? So with this particular one, you've got a 3/8 at the end, and this bolt here is 22. So I'm going to just hold it, get it ready to do up, and hopefully just pull, take your time with it. You'll know when it's done up because this side of the tool will hit the metal sleeve, same as this, and it'll get really tight, and then that'll be in. So just remove it. Give it a wipe. So there it is, it's in. Let's just check both sides, make sure it's all sitting nice and flush, which it is. All good. I won't show you the other side because the other side will be identical to this. What I'm going to do now is do the bottom one here. So you'll see me do this one, and you'll see me do the bottom one down there, and the other side will be identical, and I'll show you once I've done them. Let's get this bottom one in now, shall we? As you can see, then I had to just raise it up a little bit on a piece of wood here to give me the levy I need. And we're going to get the sleeve again. I'm using the same technique as before. Get a bit of grease. I was going to say copper grease then, but it's not. It's a bit of white grease, a little bit inside here. Insert. Come around the back. There you go. I've moved the camera, you can see it from the back. As before, got the bolt. On the front, 22 on the back. Then what you do is you undo it, and that's another one in. You repeat the process on the other side, and that'll be all 4 in, and that's how you replace them and swap them. Give them a wipe. So let me get the other ones in, and I'll bring you back when they're all done. So what's left now is the radiator mount bushes here, one here and one here, and got them right here. You get another 3 sticker with this, and all you do with these, the easiest part of doing this one is, if you have a look, the little lip here, and what it does is slot in. So as you're pushing in, and that's it. Easy jump, easy jubbly, easy, yeah. And that is it. Them 2 are done. All 4 are done. Let me show you. There you go. As you can see, I've got the radiator mounts in. The bushes here. One down here, and one, you can just see it just there. They're all in. It looks a lot tidier. A lot better than what it did. Just a long process. Chuff with that. So guys, there they are. They're all in. The bushes are all in. The radiator ones are in and looking really good. All that's left now is to put the anti-roll bar back in, the steering rack back in, redo all the wishbones and put them back in, and then I'm looking at putting it back up in the car. So I'll do that bit off camera and get it all put back together, give you some sped up footage of me putting it back together, and then I'll do a step by step putting it back in the car. So I'm quite chuffed with the way that's come out so far. I'm loving it. This project's been a bit of a long-winded one, but I got there in the end. So I must say, if you're doing it yourself at home, just take your time and enjoy the process. It's not as scary as you think. So I'm going to just crack on now and start putting everything back together, and then I'll come back to you in a minute. Finally putting it all back together. So I'm going to start off with undoing these 30mm bolts and putting the anti-sway bar back in. And these clamps, you do up to 48 Newton meters, but for now I'm just going to clamp them down. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do them up equally, one side at a time, try and get them down level. Then I'm going to put the steering rack back in. And when you tool these 80mm bolts up at the end, they go up to about 130. Like I'm doing with every bolt, I'm just going to do them up and get them all into place. Now I'm going to stick a wishbone in. Okay, so I thought I'd bring you in on this side. I forgot to bring you back in on the other side because it's such a ball ache. I have to go and have a cup of tea and freshen up. But basically what I've done, you just got to persevere with it and it will go in. Just got to keep shunting it back and forth. And it does go in eventually. Okay, so I thought I'd bring you in for a quick update. Just about to do this back bolt on the passenger side. I've got that one done after a lot of hassle. This, I don't think there's any particular way of doing it, but then I noticed on the bolts here, okay, that I've got two different ones, and I've realised this one here, it's got like a little, like a raised bit just here, and it's slightly longer. So that one, I'm guessing, is for the back. And what makes me think that is there's more thread that comes through. If you look at the bolt just there, you can actually see there's more of a thread through the bolt than that. But I did try with this one on this side, and it sort of sat like this, so there weren't much thread. So just check your bolts when you do this. I believe this is the right one for the back. Someone will correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, but I'm sure that's right. Anyway, let's get back to it, shall we? Let's put it in here and crack on. So we're going to use the longer two bolts. If I put them side by side, you can see the one on the right hand side, this one is a little bit shorter, not much shorter, but it is, makes a difference, and it's also a bit thinner. So let's get this one in. So let's get the bolt in on the back. Right, we're 15mm on the bottom, 18 on the top. I'm going to go around in a minute and talk them all up. Good job, looking a lot tidier than what it did. Get the last bolt in. Last bolt going in. Right, so I've got my torque wrench set to 130 Newton meters for the 80mm bolts on the top. Same as the other side. So you've got the lower arm front bolt here, which is 80 Newton meters plus 60 degrees, and the back one 90 Newton meters plus 60 degrees. So we go for 80 on here. And it says 60, so that's 80 done. So that's you're aiming for 90 Newton meters on this back one, and 18. Stick it on the top, just so I can I think that's done up. I just like to try and get things as close to the correct torque setting as possible. So yeah, but guys, it's all torqued up. Everything's, you don't need to torque it up, just tighten it up. You know when it's tight, you gotta know sort of attitude. Me being me, I like to get it torqued up properly as best as I can. But that's it, it's ready to go back under the car. But before I start lifting it back into place on the car, I'm gonna go have a quick cup of tea because I think I've earned it, and a bite to eat, and then come back out and challenge it with a fresh head. So let's crack on with the next part of the video. See you in a moment.